This is the Wing Woman Show. Are you ready? The Wing Woman membership is officially live and was specifically curated for people like you. One woman shows who have big dreams to launch a book, host events, or to grow their businesses, but maybe they're not in a place right now to hire on a team member to support them. This project is so close to my heart because even when I was starting out, and even now sometimes, we need those specific people in our life to hold us accountable or to help us walk through roadblocks. So this subscription is only $35 a month. It includes a monthly content calendar with copy and paste captions. So I'm not only telling you what you should post, telling you what you should do, I am literally giving you the captions to post on your social media. So you receive that monthly. We have bi-weekly group coaching, master classes, resources, personalized check-ins with your wing woman. So you set your goals at the beginning of the month, and we are holding you accountable to those goals. This project I know will be so impactful for small businesses and personal brands across the globe. So if you are listening to this right now and you're thinking, I would love to be able to show up on social media with ease and confidence, or to have a real person to ask these questions to instead of just watching hours of how-to YouTube videos, send me a message on Instagram at wingwomanbrands and just say podcast. I will send you a discount code so that you can try out the Wing Woman membership. Let's dive into today's episode. You're listening to the Wing Woman Show. Today's guest is Maghan. She is the co-founder of Thynk Global, a co-working space here in Florida. Maghan, thank you for joining us today.
Oh my gosh, you're so welcome. I'm so excited. I feel like this is a long time overdue. And honestly, talking to you now, I feel like I've known you.
I know that. I feel the same. It's the Florida connection because we just found out that Maghan was based in St. Pete and I'm here in Tampa. So it's just, we have that connection already.
Right. And that's honestly, I thought that, I was like, oh, maybe she went to the Wings for Women event that we had a couple years ago. And that's how but no, it's just.
I know, it just flows together. So most of the time when I have guests on, I ask them to start the very beginning of their journey and kind of take us through. And for a lot of them, that starts in college. But for you, I was reading your bio and it said entrepreneur at the age of, was it 5 or 8?
Girl, always been a hustler. It's in the blood. I've come from a strong, deep-rooted Caribbean family. I'm first generation American. My parents are from Haiti, and hard work is truly ingrained in our DNA. And I was fortunate enough to grow up with a strong father figure who owned his own business and raised 5 children all on his own. So to be a part of, his entrepreneurial journey and really witness it, and then to have those memories as an adult woman now and looking back on those and see how it really has shaped me into who I am today. It's sometimes I get overwhelmed by it and I start to feel, but I don't come because I'm like, I'm not gonna lie.
Wow, so what kind of business did he own?
He owned an auto body shop. So he fixed the inside of cars.
Right.
Inside. But yeah, he was like the brains behind everything, and then my uncle worked for him. And my dad was so diligent with his work and so thorough that his customers, when he decided to close the shop, his customers were just so upset, and they were just like, well, can I bring my car to your house at least?
Oh my gosh.
My father he liked the operation side of business. He did not like this. He didn't always want to fix cars, although he was extremely good at it. But my uncle was also very thorough with his work. And honestly, it's so hard to find honest mechanics.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Just coming from where they come from, and I see it here in a heavily populated Haitian community, just the honesty that the Caribbean culture has, that it's like, you know what, we understand, you know, you work hard for your money, so we're not just
Right.
going to take it for no reason.
Right.
There's a reason behind it, and we have to put the work in to earn it. So he
Wow.
definitely taught that to me in a lot of different ways, especially through the game of soccer. I played my entire life from the age of 4 till 18, and then as an adult, I played in like just intramural teams, club sports, stuff like that. But
Yeah.
I really apply the game of soccer to how I navigate life.
Wow. So what are some key takeaway lessons from soccer? Because for me, I was on the opposite side. I was very involved in dance, never outside, never, still don't go outside a lot.
I love the outside.
So what are, from playing soccer, like what are some key things that you still think about, or maybe some key stories that have really impacted you today?
But so I'll never forget. There's a couple of stories, but one that stuck out to me the most. Um, so how competitive soccer works. I started playing soccer at the age of 4, and then you transition into competitive age 9, 10. So I joined competitive at 9, and I had a phenomenal coach, Coach Reiner, German coach. He played no games about time. He in like the way he, if you were late to practice, he embarrassed you, and I hated being embarrassed.
Right.
So time is something till this day I do not play about. Like
Mm-hmm.
time is everything to me, and then it frustrates me when things like don't
Yeah.
want to on time and when people waste my time. But I will never forget. I was 10 years old, and my dad always, he would always practice foot skills with me. So a lot of technical training, quick feet, and my coach saw that in me, and we were scrimmaging at the end of every practice. We would always scrimmage, and he pulled me aside. He's like, I don't want you to pass the ball to anyone. I want you to take on every single player and score. And I was like, what? Why? And so at first I was just like, no, I have to pass. I have to pass.
Right.
But he told me, he was like, no, you don't. Sometimes you just have to go on your own and you have to take risks with the hope of, you know, getting, for soccer, it was scoring the goal.
Right.
But in life, it can be whatever that goal is for you. So I get emotional thinking about it because he is very,
Yeah.
but I dribbled the entire team and I ended up scoring, and he gave me the biggest praise ever. And I will never forget that, because now I look at that as like he taught me how to be brave, be a leader.
Mm.
Sometimes I had to make my own decisions and like forget what everyone else says, even though there's someone calling for the ball to pass to them and they're open, but maybe there's a blockage that I'm not seeing. But
Right.
in my gut, in my heart, it's telling me to just take my leap of faith and continue to go forward. And so that was one of them. And then um, I had another coach. He was a hard ass. Probably he was extremely tough, and but I did have some good takeaways from him. And I remember I played center mid um, a lot. I would either play center mid or I would play forward, but I was very good at center mid. And center mid is the individual that sees the loopholes and makes the plays. So are you familiar with the game of soccer?
Yeah, like roughly.
Okay, so you have your defense, you have your center,
Right.
and then you have your offensive players. And so the center mid is controlling the move, the key points of everything, where the ball's going. You look for the gaps to make the plays, and then the end goal is to score. And so I remember my coach, Coach Hans, told me, he was like, "Do you want to?" He was like, "Do you want to work really hard all the time?" And I was like, "No, I don't." And he's like, why are you running up and down the field like this? You're center mid. You're making the plays. You make the decisions. And he grabbed the ball and he showed me. He was like, look at the hole over here. Look at the gap there. And that moment, I realized the central mid is the central point of connectivity to every play that's being made on the field.
Mm-hmm.
And I look at myself as the center midfielder of my own life now. It's like I'm the one in control.
Right.
The dots, making the plays, getting in the loopholes, passing the ball through the gaps.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm in either way, if it didn't work on the left side, maybe the right side is stronger, so we're gonna go that way. If it didn't work that, maybe I need to take it back to defense and then start the play over.
Right.
You know, and just build up stronger until we finally get to the end goal. And so I mean, the game of soccer is just, it really changed my life. And I'm such an advocate for young kids being a part of sports because the type of leadership, the discipline it teaches you, time management, being consistent, staying consistent, is so important, because if your parents teach you right and not put you in a ton of sports and make you dedicated to one at some point in your life, then you will gain the skill sets necessary to navigate life.
Right. It sounds like you just had such a solid foundation that was built from, honestly, from since you were born, that has kind of allowed you to propel and take all these risks now with like opening a space or just like pursuing those big ideas. Like you have launched from such a solid foundation.
Right. No, definitely. I do. And my dad, he was very much so a disciplinarian. He, again, hard worker. He had 5 kids. He lived by a rigid schedule. Time was everything to him. Family time, being there. He was always there no matter what. And just teaching us the hard lessons. He is truly the epitome of what it means to show tough love. He has given me all of the tool sets I need, but he has never given me anything more to get me out of something that he thought I could not handle on my own.
Right.
If it was a lesson I needed to learn, then I was going to learn that lesson. And I have, like, he has not. And my father will always say, like, I can come to him with a problem, and he'll give me, okay, this is what I would do. He's like, okay, now make a decision.
Right.
And figure it out. So, but I mean, it's tough, but honestly, girl, it's life changing, because I look at some of my friends and some of my peers who, I'm about to be 30, and I see that they struggle so much, and there's so much that they don't know how to do, or there's so much that they're fearful of.
Right.
They can't move forward, and it's because a lot of times whoever is, whether it was mom, dad, grandma, aunt, uncle, whoever raised them, just never gave them that foundation to stand on their own. And that's the problem. It makes it really hard to move forward in this life. And one of the things I think is hard, I tell my girlfriends this all the time, I'm like, at a certain point in our life, we have to realize that the only person that is going to go hard for us is us. Like, not as much as your parents love you, as much as your aunts, your cousins, your brothers and sisters, they're not going to root for you as hard as you root for yourself.
Right.
Because everyone is going through their own journey, their own issues, and trying to navigate life. And you have to stay strong and rooted in who you are and make those decisions, not relying on anybody else's opinions.
That is so good. I'm literally going to just like clip that little clip right there so I can just like blast that everywhere, because that's just so true. Especially when you're building a business, of course. But so when it was time for you to go off to college, when you were entering college, what kinds of things did you think you wanted to do?
Oh my gosh, girl. Oh, I'll tell you. I 100% knew I wanted to be in broadcast journalism. To either, I wanted to be a war journalist. I was always a risk taker. I didn't care. Like, I just always, I love those things. I love connecting with people. I love understanding different cultures. I love putting myself in other people's shoes and experiencing what it is that they go through on a day-to-day. But then I also love, like, the entertainment side of things.
Right.
So I love fashion. Like,
you do.
Like, love fashion. I always knew, okay, so journalism was definitely going to be it for me. And then I always knew there somehow, some way, I'm going to integrate fashion with whatever I do.
Right.
So I haven't fully touched on that yet.
You haven't, yeah.
Asking, like, oh, can you style me? And now I'm like, I style so many people. Lucky, I need to start charging.
You do?
Yes. Oh my gosh, my girlfriend. Oh, and my girlfriend. So we're all turning 30 back to back to back.
Okay, yeah.
And my girlfriend and her husband, they're coming here to celebrate her 30th. And the husband texted me yesterday, and he's like, so Shell just told me that you put up an Acuity scheduling link that says you're styling people now. And I said, I sure did. You can always book me.
What's your Enneagram number?
What'd you say?
What's your Enneagram number? Do you know?
No, what is that?
Oh my gosh, it's a personality. I'm surprised you don't know. It's a personality test that you take, but it's one of the most accurate free ones I've ever read. But they have full Instagram accounts of like these pretty graphics that tell you. But I feel like you might, because I'm an Enneagram 3, and I feel like you're the same, because that is something that I would do. I would set up a link and start sending it to people. Like that is just
Girl,
so aligned.
how to get your coin? Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Because it's so time consuming. It's like the
Yeah.
thing is, at the end, I'm good at a lot of things, and it's like my friends want help with like planning fancy dinners, planning girls' nights out, planning baby
Right.
weddings, planning this, and I'm like, oh my god, no, I literally have to get paid for this stuff. Like I cannot
Yeah.
do it for free anymore. This is crazy. It's a lot.
Right, it is. So you've always kind of liked planning events, because the way you started was with co-working days.
Yes, and I wouldn't say I always liked planning events.
You didn't?
I the thing that I love about what I do is like I'm very good at with connecting with people. So pop-up co-working days was really for us to just understand well, really for us to test the market. Um, Originally we were women focused because when Janine and I both met at a co-working space in St. Pete that we were
Oh,
working
you
for,
did.
um, and so we just saw a lot of things that it didn't offer and how we could really, how we could kind of change the game
Yeah.
essentially. And so we decided to do a pop-up concept and test the market, and it went very well. We saw that women wanted community. It wasn't so much about the space, it was so much about, the energy, the offering.
Right.
But, Janine and I offer it as like mentorship, coaching, connections, the resources, and being connected to the opportunities was important to them. And so we did that, but then we realized after month 3 that we got traction so quickly that we were just, maybe this is really turning into an events business and
Mhm.
not really a business with a social mission. And so for us, what was important is like as women of color, as two women who
Mhm.
are first generation American, um, it was important to us to figure out how to build a sustainable business that really targeted towards minority and the underrepresented individuals within our globe, not just locally.
Right.
Because when you travel to cities across the United States, they all have a lot of things in common.
Mhm.
Like your urban areas all look the same. The resources that are accessible are the same. They're the things that are not accessible to them, the price points of things. Like
Right.
it's all strategically placed around the United States. And I think it's important that we start strategically placing resource hubs that inspire Black and Brown people to succeed
Mhm.
in life and connect them to the opportunities. So for us, it was important that we built something like a Thynk logo and continue to stick to it because it's just the more I go throughout this journey and like this year more than ever,
Right.
highlighted of everything that Janine and I have seen for the past 4 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, okay, so you guys are now waking up, but thank God you guys are.
Right. Yeah.
Pandemic, and and for this, obviously, COVID is clearly a global pandemic, but this is a pandemic as well. It's crazy to me that in 2020, that minorities still lack the equal
Mhm.
opportunity in a lot of areas.
Right.
And I don't know if you recently saw this, but this year, I believe it was this year, they passed, or no, last year, they passed the Crown Act. Are you familiar with the Crown Act?
No.
So the Crown Act allows for women of color to wear natural hair to work and not be discriminated against. That's absolutely
Wow.
absurd.
Right. That in
Why,
2020.
what, because of someone's hair,
Right.
really? That's just, it's ridiculous. But
Right.
it's just like all of those things that just make you not see the person for this, but see the person for everything else is ridiculous to
Right.
me. Rather than seeing the value that they can truly add to any type of organization, um, is just, it's mind blowing. And I think like the more we push Think Global,
Mm-hmm.
the more we expand, we're definitely going to have a huge change in seeing that across, the United States and
You're right,
hopefully
of course.
other
So
countries.
what about for people who are in those cities that they don't have immediate access to those resources, or they're not near a major city? Like, what would your best advice be for them to help build community or build out their biggest idea?
Right. So for us, so we are actually launching a virtual program that
Oh,
goes
perfect.
a week. And for us, it's important. I think those individuals, because we're now launching virtual, it's important for them to be able to get plugged in that way.
Mm-hmm.
And because we have a nonprofit portion of our company, perhaps, in the long term, we could look at the individuals that may live in like the super suburbs and
Right.
in our and we're in the city. Maybe there's some type of transportation that we could work out twice a
Right.
week, come and experience the space, or maybe twice a month. That allows them to see and experience the space. But
Yeah.
important for those individuals to answer the question is to get plugged in virtually and then be able to be a part of the community that way.
So one major thing that I also want to talk about is just the process from taking something that was more event-based, like you said, with the co-working days, and actually building out like this physical location. That is a big step that I feel like would be very overwhelming to most people. And there's a lot of roadblocks that probably came up through along the way that made you second guess it, like, oh, maybe we should just go back to the co-working days. Walk us through like what that process was like, taking it from idea to physical location.
Right. So for us, I mean, really for us, it was trying to find the capital to do so.
Mm-hmm.
Raising was hell on earth. It just wasn't working out for us. So we had to get smart and hustle and bootstrap it ourselves. And we were able to figure it out without taking any investments. And we don't come from the families that you can do the family and friends around that
Right.
every okay, get your first 100,000 from them. Then no, it
No,
doesn't work.
yeah.
So for us, the most difficult part was just trying to figure out how to get the capital. And from there, honestly, Janine and I knew it was never a thought in our mind, no matter how hard the process was, we knew that we're going to stick with it because it's in our heart.
Mm-hmm.
It's a
Right.
part of who we are.
Right.
And it never felt at any moment that it was not right and that it was too hard. And I think both of us are driven when challenges arise. I think it
Right.
makes us work harder, it makes us work smarter. And we learned a lot of lessons,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to reading leases, having legal representation, maybe being a little more patient, but I'm not necessarily the most patient person. When I want to get something done, I just want to get it done.
Yeah.
But moving forward, I learned so much about the real estate market, what it means to sign a modified gross lease
Mm-hmm.
versus a triple net lease,
Right.
and just really just finding individuals and having that legal representation is so important when coming into a lease.
Mm-hmm.
I learned that I no longer ever want to lease another building moving forward.
Yeah.
My soul, my eyes are purchasing the next building that we go into. I cannot ever lease again.
Yeah.
Oh my, like
See,
it's
those are all the non-glamorous sides of things. Like when you have that big idea, you're not thinking about the legal and the leasing and all of those things.
right. You're just thinking, I just want to get it open, but the process of getting the space, looking back on it now, it was daunting, it was stressful at times, but we just somehow we figured out how to move through day to day, especially now that I'm thinking about it, the day when we first moved to Miami, obviously we didn't have a building. We were
Right.
looking for a building. It took us 10 months to find the building. And those days when you're just like laying in bed and you're like, oh my God, like what am I getting up to? Nothing again.
Right.
Like it can be taxing, it can be
Yeah.
exhausting, but you really have to find something that keeps you going. And honestly, having a business partner, Like,
Mm-hmm.
we like had $0.
Right.
And granted, we still have $0.
Yeah.
Somehow we figure out how to make $0 make like a million. Look,
You did. Yeah.
so. It's just those moments where you're just like, you really have to find hope, and listening to podcasts always kept my mental strong.
Yeah.
Both of us come from very supportive families,
That's
very
great.
supportive families. Friends, my tribe was very strong, just motivating. And it's just, you have, at any moment, like the process of from not having a brick and mortar to getting a brick and mortar,
Right.
but that in between process of like, okay, we stopped doing events and we're waking up every day and have nothing that we feel that we're working
Right.
toward, you know?
Yeah, that's a tough time to keep like showing up consistently and working through all that. So you listen to podcasts, did that kind of stuff. Are you into like journaling or like other different Oh, you're not. I'm
No,
surprised.
I can't get myself to journal. I don't, because it's another task, and I'm like, I can't freaking journal right now. I'm exhausted. No.
I'm surprised you come across as like, I don't know, like a journal girl.
No, that's so funny. Everyone thinks, they're like, oh my gosh, what's in your journal? I'm like, bro, I don't journal. It's all in here, but I need to start journaling because I have so much in here. And I don't necessarily talk about my emotions a lot because
Right.
I've got to get through.
Yeah.
Something else that's going to come up, and I'm like, I'm going to have to get through.
Right. Yeah.
Sometimes it does get overwhelming. Sometimes I do freaking break down. I had my last breakdown.
You did.
So, oh my God, at the beginning of the pandemic,
Oh my gosh, yeah.
were such a terrible person. No, oh my God, just vicious, a shark. Um, I was so stressed out, and I didn't know that well, I knew I was stressed out. Mentally, I was trying to tell myself I was not.
Right.
But I told me in the building, it was just so dead. This was at the height of the pandemic.
Yeah.
It was so dead, and my heart felt so heavy, and I was just like, I have to go home. I have to go home. I got in the car, and I didn't want to like cry in front of my business partner.
Yeah.
And so I got in the car, and I just like, let it out.
Yeah.
So it was just so much pressure.
Right.
The pressure of like, oh my God, am I going to lose this building? Oh my God, I just put $90,000 in this building. Oh my gosh, I have X amount of entrepreneurs who run their business out of here, who have their mail address out of here. If I lose this, what's going to happen to them? Like,
Right.
it was, yeah.
So because the coronavirus, I mean, for you as a physical location, I mean, it's a good thing now that you're launching the digital side of things. Did you have digital before?
No, girl, we are so not digital people.
Yeah, yeah.
We love that authentic
Right.
in-person connection. But we have to shift with the times. And I think we did a beta test and went very well. The
Well,
good
that's
thing
good.
is we can transcend over.
Right.
So okay, girl. Okay, so it's like you feel me, they feel
Yeah.
us.
So it works out.
Right.
So before, like when we were in a little break on our recording break, you kind of mentioned how you gave me a glimpse of like some of the unglamorous parts of your day, like standing out at the parking lot, stuff like that. And I think that a lot of people don't realize. They see the media features and they see your beautiful space and they see all these things. So what are some of the unglamorous sides of what you do?
Mm-hmm. The unglamorous side is one of the things. I still have to side hustle, so I babysit to make some additional cash, especially now more than ever.
Right.
We have to make sure money's coming in from somewhere. The getting to the building, Janine and I have to manually pull the garage door open in the hot heat, sweating in our dresses, makeup falling off.
Yeah.
Cleaning bathrooms, picking up trash.
Yeah.
When we're trying to figure out what's wrong with the AC sometimes, I mean, you kind of become this handyman. Your lawn outside, like every little thing irritates you because you're like, I just freaking paid for this landscape through their trash on my lawn.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's all of those things. And just like Monday through Wednesday, it's like my go days because
Mm-hmm.
I do babysit and then I come to the building.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot, and people don't see that. People do not see what I look like when I'm babysitting a 1 and 2 year old.
Right, yeah.
You know, so
Well,
it's just
you are just so passion driven, and I feel like it's just so evident even in our short conversation how much you put your heart into every single initiative, even through Think Global or even in your personal life and like personal development. So what are some ways that our members can support you and follow along on social media? Because I think this is something they'll definitely want to be connected with.
yeah. So one of the ways you can support us, we are launching our virtual memberships starting next week. So you guys can sign up for that on www.thinkglobal, think with a y.com. You can follow us at Think Global on all social media platforms. Instagram, we're very active, LinkedIn, and Facebook. So you can follow us there and just stay updated. So those are ways you can support. Then also, we just currently launched our Black Female Founder um, swag. So we have
Cute.
these cute little masks.
Yeah, those are so they can get those on your website, right?
Yeah, we have them on our
Okay.
website. You can shop. Everything is on our website, so you can shop
Okay.
on our website as well.